Hello, good day. And how are you today? I hope you're good. Okay, that's good. So, are we ready for today's lesson? Today's lesson in basic science, we are going to be talking about living and non-living things. We are going to be talking about living and non-living things in today's lesson. Okay? Are we ready? Okay. Living things, what do we mean by living things? Living things are things that are alive. Characteristics of living things, what makes up living things? Movement. Living things can move and change over time. Living things can move on their own or exhibit growth and change over time. This movement can be evident in animals as they walk, swim, or fly, and in plants as they grow and bend towards light. We have respiration. Living things turn food into energy to stay alive. Living things undergo respiration, which is a process of converting food into energy. In animals, this involves breathing to obtain an oxygen, while in plants, respiration occurs through the process of photosynthesis. We have sensitivity. Living things can feel and respond to their surrounding. They can sense and respond to their surroundings. For example, animals can react to changes in temperature or light, and plants can respond to stimuli like gravity and light. Growth. Living things get bigger or develop over time. All living things grow and develop. This can involve physical growth in animals or the growth of new cells in plants. Growth is typically a characteristic of living organisms, living things. Reproduction. Living things can reproduce, create offspring. Living things can reproduce to create new individuals of the same species. Reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species. So these are the characteristics of living things: movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, production. Okay? What do we mean by non-living things? Things that are not alive. What are the characteristics of non-living things? They don't grow or change. Non-living things do not get bigger or change over time. They don't grow or develop. They don't get bigger. Can't feel or respond. They can't sense or react to their surrounding. Non-living things do not sense or respond to their environment. They do not have the ability to detect or react to changes in their surroundings. They don't make babies, which means they don't reproduce. Non-living things don't have babies or reproduce. They don't create new individuals as their kind. Non-metabolism, they don't eat or breathe to get energy like living things do. They do not convert food into energy or perform life-sustaining activities. No cells. Non-living things don't have the tiny building blocks called cells. Living things are composed of cells, while non-living things lack cellular structure. Non-living things are not made up of basic units of life like the cells. No self-regulation, they can't keep their insides stable. Non-living things cannot regulate their internal conditions. Don't adapt. Non-living things don't change to fit their environment. They don't adapt to their environment where living things evolve and adapt to changes and conditions over time. So these are the characteristics of non-living things. So I've talked about the characteristics of living things, right? So these are the characteristics of non-living things. We're going to move over to the classification of living organisms. All living things are sorted into 5 big groups. Think of them as kingdoms. These are animals, one, plants, fungi, simple organisms, and bacteria. Animals also have basic groups inside their animal kingdom, like the mammals, which are the dogs and cats, the birds, the sparrows and eagles, fish, golden fish, sharks, reptiles, turtles and snakes, insects, ants and butterflies. Then in the plant kingdom, there are trees, flowers, grass, and bushes. Fungi, the common types we have mushrooms, molds, yeast, and mildews. Remember, the living organisms are classified into 5: animals, plants, fungi, simple organisms, and bacteria. We talked about the animals, which are mammals, cats, dogs, then birds, sparrow, eagles, fish, reptiles, insects. Then the plants, we have the trees, flowers, grasses, bushes, fungi, common fungi like mushroom, molds, yeast, mildews. In the simple organisms, we have the green algae, red algae, and brown algae. Bacteria comes in different forms, including spherical, rod-shaped, and spiral. So these are the classifications of living organisms. Okay? What do we mean by response to stimuli? This means that living things can sense and react to changes in their surrounding. When something happens in their environment, they can do things in response. Animals respond, right? Animals can respond to various stimuli. For example, if you touch a cat tail, it might twitch on or move. This is a response, right? Because when you touch the tail, it will move. Plants, even though plants don't move like animals, they can respond to stimuli. If a plant is not getting enough sunlight, it may grow taller or bend towards the source of the sun to capture more sun. Humans, we respond to stimuli. If someone touches us, we'll feel it. If the weather is hot, We'll feel hot. If we touch something hot, we'll quickly remove our hand, right? That is also response to stimuli. Microorganisms, even tiny microorganisms like bacteria, can respond to stimuli. Some micro some bacteria move towards nutrients or away from harmful substance. The ability to respond to stimuli is an important characteristic of living things. It helps them adapt to their environment and survive. What do we mean by adapting to their environment? Adaptation. Adaptation is like a special skill or feature that living things develop to survive in their environment. It helps them fit in better with their surroundings. For example, when a chameleon can change its color, right? It's adapting to where it is. To hide from the predators. The chameleon can change its skin color to hide from the predators, right? So it's adapting to where it is. Then evolution. Evolution is the idea that living things can change over a very long time, and these changes can lead to new species. Living things can change slowly. These changes can happen very gradually and are usually hard to see in a short time. Survival of the fittest. This means that those with helpful adaptation are more likely to survive and have babies, passing on those helpful traits to the next generation. Okay? So adaptation is like a special skill or feature that living things develop to survive in their environment. They adapt to where they are. Remember, I said non-living things lack adaptation. Living things evolve with time, it changes, right? So now we know about living and non-living things. The features of living things and the features of non-living things, right? We talked about it, didn't we? We did. And how living things respond to stimuli. Non-living things can't respond to stimuli. If you touch a table, it won't respond. If you hit a table, it won't respond. But if you hit a human being, the human being will feel the pain, right? I will quickly want to react. And living things can also adapt and evolve. Okay? So today's lesson on living and non-living things, we understood it, right? Okay, so we are going to look at our assignments. Meaning meaning of living and non-living things. We can explain that, right? Select a specific animal and research its adaptation to its environment. We can do that, right? Good. Okay.